Welcome to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. I'm your host, Fabian motherfucking Ojeda, and I don't know shit, but that's okay. All right, let's get this shit started. Thank you everybody for listening to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. Hope you all enjoyed our previous episode with the one and only Tommy Chong. Super interesting episode. I want to get that guy back on, man. A lot of history, a lot of stories there. Spans 7 decades. Love to hear more. But I'm back today with a brand new guest, and I'm super excited to have him on. I want to welcome to the podcast for the very first time, Mr. Michael Ray Bauer. How you doing?
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate you supporting me, getting me on your show. And I got to go back and watch that Tommy Chong episode, apparently.
Actually, it's going to be out tomorrow at the time of recording, so you'll have some time. I had a lot of fun with that. He's got a lot to say, man, but you do too. And I'm very excited to have you on, man, because this is a special occasion for me because I watched a lot of TV growing up. I am a 90s kid, man, and it's great you have that Camp Anawana shirt on because I felt like I went to Camp Anawana in the summers.
Yeah, it's funny. I was recording like a video, and I did a live members only on my YouTube chat just a little bit while ago. So, and I have merchandise available, so check it out. But
oh yeah, I'll probably get me one of those Camp Anawana shirts.
Yeah, you'll get one for free, man, for supporting and get me on your show. I promise.
Oh, I appreciate it. But where are you joining us from today? Where are you these days? You're California, right?
I'm in the Matrix, as you can see behind me. Yeah, I live out still live out in California, or California, whatever you want to call it, the Democratic state that everybody's like moving out of because I don't know what it's becoming. I don't know. Too much homeless. Everything's too expensive. Like mandates, for this or that. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like California, really. The way I thought it was back in the days. But yeah, I'm in California.
Yeah.
Or let's call it Hollyweird.
There you go. That's a classic right there. But speaking of Hollyweird, you were a lot of people know you as a pretty successful child actor, right? You got your start. I was reading in Moonwalker with Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my first jobs. Was they made a movie called Moonwalker, but they had like little various segments in that film. And Michael Jackson just opened up his studios called MJJ Studios, and it's now Sony Studios. And we filmed there. It was MJJ, Sony Studios, whatever. And we filmed the Batter music video. Remember the I'm Bad music videos?
With the little kids,
Yeah, but they did a segment for that movie with little kids dancing and recreating it. I wasn't one of the dancers. I got hired as the behind the scenes of filming the little kids. So it was weird. It was like everybody was a child, even the behind the scenes, like the director, the grip, like everybody was a child. So they did a behind the scenes of the making of the little kids in that video. And they thought it was going to be like a part of the DVD or something special for the movie when it came out, or like a videotape segment or something. I don't know. But it didn't end up in the movie. But I filmed it and I met Shaun Weiss. That was the first time meeting Shaun Weiss from the Mighty Ducks. He played Goldberg, and we became friends back then. And Michael Jackson's monkey Bubbles came to the set, and we met Bubbles, and we went to the premiere of Moonwalker. Even though I officially wasn't in it because the behind the scenes did not make the final DVD or whatever it was, we went to the Neverland Ranch, and he stepped out onto a podium. We had carnival rides and games, everything around the Neverland Ranch, and he stepped out on the podium, and he's like, hey, thank you guys for coming. I want to appreciate it. Go ahead and frolic and play, and ride the rides. And this is my place. There's no rules. There's no rules in Neverland. And I just remember him saying that to this day. And What an amazing moment. And I actually met him later in life while I was working at another time at a comic book store where he took over the store and he just walked in with security guards and took it over. It was insane.
Yeah, it sounds crazy. It sounds like an experience, you know. But from there, you know, I think what you're probably most known for, at least in my eyes, definitely, and the kids I grew up when, you know, I was a kid, was Salute Your Shorts, man. And that's to me like it's, you know, it's only 2 seasons, right? But it was like such an iconic show. Like people that I talked to, and it's really funny because it's usually just, you know, kids who were born probably around like 83 to like 87, that short time frame. Because I talked to my younger brother, he doesn't have the same fond memories of the show. He just I kind of remember it, right? But to me, it was like my favorite Nickelodeon show. I don't know what it was about the whole thing, but I loved it, man. And so I just saw one of your videos, and there was an unaired pilot, and I'm gonna say I watched it. I'm not as big a fan of that unaired pilot as I was the final product. So I think they made the right choice with that. But what was that whole experience like getting onto that show?
I mean, you know, let's be honest. Looking back, it changed my life because that's kind of sometimes what I'm most known for nowadays. So it was a life-changing event. And the truth is, if you look back at your life, you know, everybody look back at your life, there's probably like 10 life-changing events.
If that,
and that was one of them, you know, for me. Yeah, it was a fantastic time, man. You know, getting to play around at summer camp and basically getting a family while working on a show and getting paid a little bit of money. And yeah, I mean, it was fun working on it. Like I said, it became a family, and we had some good adventures.
For sure. Now from the pilot that was unaired, you know, to the show that actually made the air, right? They changed a lot of the characters. I think they changed everybody except for you, Ugg, and Budnick, basically, right? There was a different Sponge, different Telly. There were a couple other girls that I don't know if they had like a counterpart. But do you know why that decision was made? Did they test it or anything like that? And it's just even the song, I think the song sucked, right? The song is iconic. I love that thing. And I'm like, I'm wondering if we could sing that at the end of this thing.
Yeah, we could definitely sing it. For those that are watching, I have a reaction video to the unaired pilot on my YouTube page. If you want to go out and check it out and find out what we're talking about, I'm sure you'll have a link somewhere on your page for it as well. But the reason why they changed cast members, let's be honest, it needed a little bit of diversity. And the director that went into that pilot, a few of the cast members that were on it, we did a short film just before that with that director named Randall Miller. And we did a short film called Marilyn Hotchkiss Ballroom Dancing and Charm School. And so when he got the job to direct Salute Your Shorts, he brought in all of us to audition. Then the producers and the people at Nickelodeon or whatever, they liked some of us from the short film. So they brought us on and filmed it. And then I think they rewatched it back with the Nickelodeon executives. And Nickelodeon said, hey, we're going to buy it, but we need some diversity. We need some different characters. And they wanted us to recast, so that's what they did. Little quick funny story about all that was after filming the pilot, I get an audition, 5 months later, something like that, for a show called Salute Your Shorts. From my agent, I get an audition. I'm like, this is the show I'm on.
Right.
So I go to the audition for producers and everything. Then I walk in the room, and the director is a different director for the pilot this time. It's a different director. And then the writers, the creators, and some Nickelodeon execs or whatever are there. And then they go, Michael, what are you doing here? That means they didn't want me.
Uh-oh.
But my agent forgot that I was on the show, and somehow I got the audition again, but they didn't want me, or they wanted to see other people. But I walked into the room, And they're like, what are you doing here? Like, it freaked them out because they're recasting or possibly recasting. So I went in and I'm like, hey, I'm auditioning. This is my part.
Yeah.
I go, I don't know what y'all are doing, but this is my part. So in the original audition scene for the pilot, I ate the hard macaroni. I broke a tooth.
Oh, you ate it for real?
I ate it for real in the original pilot audition.
Mm-hmm.
I literally chipped a tooth. So in this audition, I brought back a piece of hard macaroni, broke a second tooth, and I got the job.
Dang. And I couldn't imagine it with anybody else. You know, I when you watch shows or movies and stuff like that, you know, you watched it enough. I used to watch those reruns, you know, to death, right? When I could find it back then. I mean, we didn't have DVR or you know, on demand back then, but if it was on that Stickly Nickelodeon summer, right? They spin the wheel. What are we going to show? I was always like, salute your shorts, right? And then it would be fucking Hey Dude. I'd be like, you know.
that was later in life, though. Yeah, I mean, Stickly is like the mid 90s. Like our show ended basically in like 92, 93.
Yeah.
And Stickly is like 96, 97.
Mm-hmm.
So they were showing repeats at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then here's a little bit of I don't know if you guys want to call it a conspiracy, since I'm thinking about it and I'll forget. But the show is available on Paramount Plus, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But there's only 10 episodes.
Yeah, that's what I see. That's the thing. I don't know. I never watched it in sequential order. I was really young, and so I watched it as like reruns. So I was wondering, is that it? Like, it seemed very short.
Again, herein lies the conspiracy theory, where we did 26 episodes in total. The writer and the creator left the show at the end. And then Nickelodeon for years has only been rerunning certain episodes. And now Paramount Plus opened up and there's only 10 episodes. Do they have all the episodes? Were the contracts legit or not legit back in the days before they really knew what was going on, where they cannot air some of the episodes due to contracts? Or did the writer take the show? Can they not air some of the shows? I don't know. Dang. It's really, really confusing and interesting. So you have to go outside, like on eBay or whatever, and get a bootleg for the VHS tapes, because on Paramount Plus, there's only 10 episodes.
Yeah,
so there's some sort of a conspiracy there, or something's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I thought they shortchanged us on that, because I you know, when I first got Paramount Plus, I'm like, oh hell yeah, you know, Salute Your Shorts is on here. I want to watch it again. But yeah, it seems like very shortchanged. But you know. That's an interesting, you know, hopefully somebody looks into that and you can figure that part out. But you know, as far as like the show itself, you know, I really enjoyed it, because like I said, there's some things that are very, like, to me, are very quotable, right? Even you know, like I said, nobody else could have done the role but you in my eyes, because you know, when you're being introduced by Budnick, he's like, you know, Donkey Lips here will sit on your head and fart. Right? And you're just there, like, you know, shaking your head. And I'm like, that was perfect. I still, like, my brothers and I still quote that, you know,
because I apparently Donkey Lips had beans for dinner.
Right.
One of the other, just to add to the theory that we were talking about, what was it called? Maybe they lost some of the episodes. You know, they were on like big digitapes back in the days, and they had to move them around. The show was edited at our little studio and then sent to Nickelodeon through the mail. And then I don't know if they don't have it in their archives anymore. I don't know. So it could be contracts. It could be that the writer officially had control of some of the shows. I don't know. I just do not know why not all the episodes are on there, unless they're waiting to reveal it a year from now, you know, once they got subscribers. But why wouldn't you put all the episodes in the beginning? It's not that big of a show that'll really bring in millions upon millions of subscribers to Paramount Plus. You might as well put it all on there.
It was only 2 seasons, right? Like, what happened there? Like, I kind of feel like it just ended abruptly. You know, was it canceled, or it was just like, hey, we just have 2 seasons and we're not renewing, or what was going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long story. I'll try to make it as quiet as possible. I mean, as quiet as short as possible. Excuse me. But originally, like I said, we did the pilot and they tried to sell it to Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon said refilm it, recast it, and we'll buy 6 episodes. So that's what they did. So we basically did another pilot, then we did 6 episodes. While we were filming those 6 episodes, they aired the first 2, like toward the end of the 6th episode. Then we had a bowling like pizza party. Then the Nickelodeon heads flew down and they gave us an order for a back 7. So that would make it 13 shows for the first season. So we had a party, we had a cake, and we cut it open, and it had the number, congratulations on your first 6 episodes, now on to your next 7. And then I remember I took the icing or whatever was there, and I made it say like 700. But yeah, so they ordered another 7 episodes. Then let's go into season 2. It was really popular. We got nominated for a couple of awards for season 1. And then now they were airing it like after Double Dare. And it was getting a little bit more popular. We started going on press events for season 2. But then our contracts for the first season ran for only 13 episodes of the second season. So basically, we all had contracts that would go like 25 episodes, if not more, even though we did 26. So we had contract negotiations while we're filming the second season because they wanted a third. And I don't want to get into it, but we were getting scale AFTRA, not even SAG. We were getting scale AFTRA, which is not a lot. And then they were building Nickelodeon Studios at that time as well. And they were about to open up that. So they wanted a season 3, but then they need to renegotiate contracts with the writers and all the other people on the show, including the cast members. So they were having some struggles here and there. Then the writer, the creator of the show, had some issues. For whatever reason, he walked out the last 2 or 3 episodes of the show. And we were all like, what's going on? He walked out. We didn't see him on set, nothing. And rumors had it was a contract dispute. Then around this time, we need a 26th episode contract. So we're all negotiating. Then we found out that they wanted the cast to go to Florida. They wanted us all to relocate and to film season 3 in their studios, get away from California. And then they were basically offering the same budget for the cast, if not a little bit more for the cast members, but we had to provide our own housing. So as the cast members, if we take that offer, we have to relocate to Florida, find an apartment or a house to live in, pay for it ourselves, and only get like about $2,000 an episode.
Right. Yeah,
and with a guarantee of 13 episodes only for season 3. That's what, $26,000 after taxes, $20,000. I can't live. So a lot of us were like, yeah, we don't agree with that. We need this amount of money. If we are going to relocate, or you guys fly us up there for those 3 or 4 months, you guys have to provide housing. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they got back to my agents or whatever. Long story short, we did a wrap party after we filmed the final episode for that season. We all went to the wrap party. We saw the creator again. We shook hands. We all cried. We all just knew it was over. We all just knew it was over. And then, a little while after it was over, me and Danny Cookshee, we got an offer again to go to Florida to be on a show that they were going to make a buddy comedy. Nice. That they were going to make some sort of a buddy comedy. And they wanted us to relocate, even though the show's getting canceled. They wanted to put us on another show. We didn't take up that offer because, again, they weren't giving us enough money. We had to relocate. They were not willing to pay. We turned it down because we were graduating. I was graduating high school right around that time, and I just couldn't do it. Then about a year later, Kenan and Kel comes out.
Ooh, yeah.
Were we the original Kenan and Kel?
Oh, wow.
Or were we going to be a part of that show? Or were we going to be a part of Schnick? I don't know. I do
Yeah.
not know.
You know, a couple of things I wonder there. Well, first and foremost, you talk about relocating and things like that, and I can imagine you probably had your own life like outside of work at that point, right? Were you going to, as a child actor, were you going to like a regular school and things like that? What was that like?
Yeah, well, when we're on set and you're under or you're not graduated or you're under 18, you have to go to a set school where you have to do like 3 or 4 hours a day with an on-set teacher. My first season, I had to go to an on-set school. And then my second season, because I think I was 18 at some point in the second season, that I didn't really have to go to school anymore, even though I was still at North Hollywood High School at that point, but I didn't have to go to school. So I just brought in homework and got some stuff, and I hung out in the classroom on set, but I technically didn't have to go to school in my second season.
I see. Okay.
Whether you're
And
graduated or not, as long as you're over 18, you don't need it
mhm,
legally.
yeah. And now you mentioned, you were 18. I didn't know you were 18 already in the show. You looked a lot younger. I thought you
Yeah,
were like
yeah.
maybe 15, 16 or something like that. But you
Yep,
also
no,
mentioned
let's do the math out loud. So I don't mind telling everybody. I was born in 75. The show started, we filmed the pilot in 90, and then like late 90, and then we did the show, the first season in 91, 92. So if I was born in 75,
yeah,
75, 85,
17.
that's 17, like around the time where I turned 18.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know all that because that kind of led me to start thinking of other things right now. I'm like, well, you mentioned Keenan and Kel and things like that. I'm like, dang, you would have been perfect like on all that. Keenan was on, Mighty Ducks, I and Heavyweights, the movie. I was like, those would have been perfect roles for you. I wonder if it was kind of like a thing where it's like, oh, he's too old at this point or something like that. But I watched those movies. I love those movies, right? And I thought, yeah, you would fit in perfectly in those.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Like, I think I'm graduating at this point, or whatever. You know what? Now that I think about it, I might have lied to the people at school to not go to school because I was still 17, I think, at the time. But I didn't have every audition for all of the projects you mentioned. So in order to get that job, you got to have the audition at least. And I didn't get them all, but I did audition for Heavyweights. I didn't get the role. That went to my friend, another guy, Aaron. But yeah, I didn't get all the auditions. So, and I'm sure I would have been a fine Goldberg, but let's be honest, man, Sean was perfect.
Oh, yeah.
He was in what The Big Green. What other movies were like
Yeah.
Sean was in? All
Mighty
those
Ducks
movies
as well.
at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Big Green. I don't know what else Sean did, but he did some good stuff. And later in life, I actually took a couple movie parts away from him. I did that. That's the competition, man, of being a bigger guy.
And with that too, you were in was this before or after Salute Your Shorts? You were in Wonder Years for a few episodes, right? As Peter Armbruster, Pig.
Yeah, man, I did a lot of Wonder Years episodes. I think in total I did 7.
Oh wow. Okay.
So you got to watch them all. And then I think in 3 or 4 of them, I ended up like I had one line each one. I did a part in every season of Wonder Years.
Huh.
In every season, I had a role with one line, but I think 4 of them ended up like on cutting room floors. You could only see me in the background. Okay. And then I think there's 3 or 4 of them where like I'm a different character that season. Huh. One of them, I'm like in an army suit or something. Then another one, I'm like a best friend where he broke up with Whitney or Winnie. Uh-huh. And then there was a big episode where I was like Peter Armbruster. Was that his name?
Pig,
yeah. So that was a big episode. The casting directors cast me early, like in 89 or 90, like Wonder Years started in like 88, I believe it was. And I started acting in like 89. Okay. Wonder Years, I think I did my first Wonder Years in 90. Mm-hmm. It seems like I was on one show every season. And the casting directors of Wonder Years casted the pilot to Salute Your Shorts.
Oh, okay, I see.
They didn't do the regular shows, the 2 seasons, but they casted the pilot. Mm-hmm. And they also later became the casting directors for Friends.
Wow.
which
I
was later on an episode. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So,
yeah.
That's what they need to do for these big shows like Wonder Years and Friends. The casting directors go out and get faces and possible famous people that they can get cheaply that are also good actors, and they throw them a small part or a cameo because it helps your show, like the Wonder Years. Oh, that's the guy from Nickelodeon. Or, so they do that constantly. And that's what they did, like on Friends. They brought in a ton of cameos, and there's a lot of celebrities from that show. But I wasn't really considered a celebrity, but I am a face and a voice. So I am a face and a voice that's recognizable. So, and me and Fred Savage became friends on Wonder Years, and we're still friends to this day. And there's a lot of controversy surrounding him from back in the days that we've had to discuss with the wardrobe lady named Muffy. I remember her, Muffy. We used to play basketball, me and Fred Savage, while we were on set, because I was on there a lot. Like literally a lot. It doesn't mean I'm in every episode with lines and everything. I was also hanging out, man. Like I had no life, man. I used to hang out on a game show called Funhouse. I used to be in the audience called Funhouse with, I think his name is JD Robb was the host, and they had like cheerleaders called Funhouse. And then I became a contestant on that because I would hang out on the set because it was at the studios and they had all these game shows that they were filming and whatever. I loved it. We used to collect football cards, me and Fred Savage, and we would go out and get the Pro Set, 1989 Pro Set. We'd tell them to go to the local liquor store and buy whatever cards they want. We'd open up packs in his dressing room. We're like, oh, you got a Barry Sanders. Oh, you got a Bo Jackson. It was fun, man. It was so much fun.
Nice, man. And, I want to jump into, your film roles as well. I think the one that most people would recognize you from is when you're one of the Zoltan guards in Dude, Where's My Car, right? There you go, the Z symbol, they had you get naked in that, man. What was that all about?
Man, I seem to be naked in a lot of my projects, man. If you go through my history or watch some of that stuff, I'm always without my shirt and somehow naked because the world loves a fat, crazy guy. Let's just be honest.
I guess, man.
That's Hollywood.
And
or
then
Pedo Wood. Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Oh.
Now, if you want to get into that, no, yeah.
I didn't really experience any of that stuff, but it's very prevalent. Now looking back on it, I understand. And we don't need to go through here. We'll get into the film roles, but I was hanging out with a few people, and they had a little nightclub for like the teenagers back in the days. Ooh. It was called Alfie's Soda Pop Club. And it was at night, like it was at the Hilton Hotel or something like that. And they had like the ballroom or something. And I would go, I'd hang out with Danny Cooksey, the kid from the Terminator. Corey Feldman was there. They were dancing and singing on stage. Alyssa Milano would go. We had burgers at a place called Ed DeBevick's. It was like a burger joint. So we'd go get burgers like in the afternoon. Then the party for the Soda Pop Club would like happen at like 8:00 at night to like 11 or 12. And again, that's where all the controversy with Corey Feldman and a lot of the stuff was happening. But there were adults there. And now looking back, I realized, wow, that's some interesting stuff to think about. And,
yeah, it's
I wasn't a part of any of it. I mean, thank goodness I was fat and ugly. Let's be honest with you. So, but most of the time I just went home. I didn't really hang out a lot. I did the occasional parties here and there, trying to become famous or hang out with celebs. But I don't know, man. I was more like a Sega Genesis guy. Go home, play Nintendo, watch TV. I couldn't even. Here's a quick little addition to what you were talking about, how you used to watch Salute Your Shorts. I couldn't even afford cable TV to watch the show I was on. I was supporting my family. We were struggling. And I couldn't even watch the premieres of our shows.
Shit, man.
Well, around that time.
Until we used to just like steal 95. Cable, so neither could I.
I used to steal cable too, man. One day, I think it was like 94, 93. We did get a cable box because I started making a little bit of money on acting or whatever. And then one day I came home, I was all alone. The TV screen, I turned to the porn channel, just in case. And then it had the wavy lines. It had the wavy lines, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I see a breast or something every once in a while. And then one day I literally came home, I checked the channel, the wavy line was gone.
Oh shit.
I'm looking around going, ain't nobody home. Let's watch this channel until the wavy line comes back.
Yeah, I still remember when I was a kid, it was channel 49. Like,
you sure it wasn't 69? But don't bump.
No, that would have been even funnier. But yeah, that happens sometimes. You know, you would get like HBO or pay-per-view or the porno channel, whatever. I
started ordering like WrestleManias and stuff. I did. We had cable in the mid 80s, so we ordered the WrestleManias. But for some reason we lost cable. Like when I started acting, so I didn't have it in the early 90s, and then I had to get it again in like 93.
Yeah,
I think I got it in 90. I got it in 92 probably after I made a little bit of money.
Mm-hmm. At my household, they finally caught us after like 5-6 years of getting free cable, but that's a different story for another day there, right? But I did, you mentioned being, the big kid, the fat kid, the chubby kid, right? I think, to me, that was really cool seeing on the screen, to be honest.
Oh yeah, you were talking about dude, where's my car? Sorry. I didn't mean
all of that stuff.
Go back.
Yeah. Hey, it's a story's a story, man. I love it all. But in general, it was really cool to see that on screen because there were times like where it's like you're used for comic relief and things like that. But I think, for like, bigger, chubbier kids growing up, myself being one of them, I really like seeing that. Hey, there's another, just like you, and you mentioned, your friend that played Goldberg in the Mighty Ducks movie, Sean Weiss, right? Same thing. The movie Heavyweights, right? It was really cool because it's like, okay, there's other kids out there that are like me and they can do some cool shit, and they can be in movies and TV and things like that. Kind of a little confidence booster. You ever feel any of that, or it's just kind of like, hey, I'm just doing my thing?
I mean, let's be honest, the roles for bigger people, they weren't represented as much. Mm-hmm. And then if they were, it's always, the idiot, the crazy guy, the best friend. Mm-hmm. And let's be honest, that standard is still true to this day.
Yep.
But there are some artists nowadays that are going from comedy to drama and making it real good. But, as a younger actor, being the fat kid, of course I was bullied at school. I also have a funny voice. I was made fun of, but I got on television and everybody started to love me and I became a little bit popular. So I became that guy, and then a quick little story later in life. I remember some people met me many years after school or high school and they're like, oh, I went to school with you. You were sort of a DICK. Oh, you were sort of a jerk. I knew you were on television and you were doing those movies. But, you were sort of an a-hole. I'm like, really? Can you explain how I was one? Well, you never talked to me, Hey, is it my job to, when you notice me, to talk to you, to start a conversation? No, I'm in high school. I'm filming. Some days I'm at school. I got 2.5 minutes or 3 or 4 minutes to go from one class on the side of one squad to my next period, all the way down in the bungalows. I ain't got time to talk to nobody. And if it's lunchtime, my fat butt is eating.
Yeah, just like Pig, right? Peter Armbruster. Let's eat.
Yeah, that was a pretty famous line. They made commercials when that show was airing and the repeats where I go, let's eat.
Well, I'm telling you, like 30 some years later, I'm still using that, quoting that line with my brothers. I cook every weekend, right? And so, my brother comes over and we're like, what are we eating? And as soon as we see what we're eating, it's let's eat, So like you mentioned, you had that distinctive voice, and I think that's probably why it's easier to remember those one-liners, But with your voice too, you were able to get work as a voiceover artist, right, for a lot of video games. I saw like a lot of the Rockstar games on there. My favorite of those games, Bully. I love that video game. I like, Grand Theft Auto and all that. To me, it was a little much. I love Bully, right? Like all the little bit of violence that they had was still, comical, and it was, mischievous more than anything, right? Who did you play in Bully?
I don't know.
Do you remember any of that? Yeah.
No. So here's what happens is again, I can't speak for every project, but early on in the days when they were doing all that stuff, like for games like Bully, I got the job straight up. I just got the job. I go to the ADR location, the dialogue recording, and they have scripts for me of multiple characters. So I read about 4 different characters that from my recollection. I read the scripts, the words, and we did them over and over again, like for 3 days, I think it was 3 or 4 days. And then I go home. The video game comes out. I never finished it.
Yeah.
I never played it till the end. I didn't buy it. Am I in there? I don't know. I'm just being honest. So if one of you guys can do the research, play the game, find my voice, but it is one of the students, I can guarantee you that. I don't know.
I thought it, I thought it was one of the construction workers. I wasn't sure because I was looking it up. I'm like,
yeah, I don't remember doing a construction worker. No, okay. I again, it was so long ago, but I don't know. Yeah, that's what happened with Star Wars. That's what happened with the Old Republic. I go in there and I do sounds, I do effects, I read lines. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if I'm in the game, but I get a credit on IMDb. Mm-hmm. And I gotta pay. I think I got paid like $500 or $600 per day. There's no residuals, but
okay. Now I want to kind of jump into any.
Sorry if I didn't have the right story. I don't know. Maybe I should play Bully one day. I don't know. Are all the characters on screen? Like, do they all come on? I don't know. I don't know how video games really are played nowadays.
Yeah, that one is kind of like Grand Theft Auto, where there's a lot of non-playable
like an open environment or something like that, where you go and meet people. And
yeah,
I did play Grand Theft Auto a little bit. That was fun, picking up hookers and stuff. That was kind of fun.
You were a voice in which one was it? Grand Theft Auto 4 or 5? Do you remember? Yeah, again, another one of those that you just kind of did in bulk.
Again, I get hired to do ADR for video games. They don't tell me the game. Sometimes they don't know the game. They don't tell me what. I just go in there and do work. They just tell you, hey, lines. Yeah, can you make a punch sound like you got punched? But again, the actor from Salute Your Shorts, he got into anime. He got into some real big projects with anime. Kirk Bailey from Salute Your Shorts, he got into some big anime. And then go on.
Who was that one? Which actor? Ugg. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was some big anime characters. I don't really follow anime, but after he passed away, a lot of anime fans were hitting me up and they were saying rest in peace to his character from a lot of anime projects. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know that. I did try to, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but a little addition to the ADR. So I was trying to build a rep with, voices and all that other stuff. But I was told by some big voice over agents that I'm not going to have a career as a voice actor because my voice is too unique. And I didn't understand what that meant at the time because I was trying to get you need an agent. I didn't really have an agent for the video games. I met some people at E3 and some conventions, and then I got jobs doing those video games or whatever that way. But I was looking into doing cartoons and TV shows. And then a big agency told me I have too unique of a voice and I'm not a superstar. Because if you notice, all the big movies that have characters with voices, they're all, first off, recognizable, but you recognize their face and their name from other big movies on top of the character they're doing the voice for in that film. So I really wasn't that big enough to be one of those characters, for the big parts. Then when it comes to the little small parts or the characters on, cartoons for Disney or Nickelodeon, my voice, I have a lisp. It's too unique to where if I do a character, I cannot do another character on another show because my talent or my voice is always with the lisp to where I get typecast and my voice is too unique that they don't believe I can do different voices and get rid of my lisp in order to do many millions of different characters. So they didn't give me that opportunity because they were pigeonholing me into one category of my voice is too unique and I can do nothing but have the lisp.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, that I get what you're saying now. Yeah, it's a weird position to be in there, you know. I always thought, hey, that would have been a great thing. You have a unique voice, and you know, you even if you do the same kind of character, you know, they can use you for those roles over and over again. But what you just said makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, if I do one show with the lisp character or whatever, and then will I really have a different character voice for the next one, or will it be just as similar to the original one? As an actor, I know I could have done it.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't give me the opportunity. I did get an agent for voiceovers, you know, a little while after that. They believed in me. But then I had a ton of auditions. I auditioned for like the voice of the Olympic character of like the 2000 Olympics or something. It was like a ring. But I had a ton of auditions. I didn't get any jobs.
Mm.
So maybe what that original big agent for voices told me was coming true.
Maybe, yeah. Now, I want to just touch a little bit on, you know, what you're still looking forward to, or what you want to work on. You know, there's a lot of what?
Did you want to go back to like Dude, Where's My Car or Evolution? I don't know if you possibly had questions that we skipped or something like that.
No, I mean, just wanted to, you know, touch on the films very briefly, and I think we real quick. I'll just want to pop up with, yeah, you mentioned Evolution as well. You know, Dude, Was My Car, that was kind of like the one that most people remember you for. I just watched Evolution. Like, I'd never seen it before, but I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah.
You just watched it recently?
Last night. Yeah, I just watched it last night. And
wow.
I thought it was really cool how you were paired up with Ethan Suplee as brothers. That guy's huge, man. I thought he made you look like tiny, you know, like you know, you were a big guy and he's huge. And now he's all like jacked up these days, but yeah, I had no idea he was so big. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me and Ethan, I just did a video live where you can watch it back when you have the time, but I told a story about Remember the Titans.
Okay.
Of how I didn't get that role, but it was me and Ethan, and he ended up getting the job. But yeah, that's where me and Ethan met. And then we were constantly up for a lot of the same projects around that time. The Butterfly Effect as well. It was me and Ethan for that role. If you ever saw that, Ethan got the part where he played like a gothic guy. Yep. I remember I went into the audition with a whole gothic outfit, and I looked like Trench Coat Mafia, man, in that damn movie when I had the audition. But he's a great actor. I mean, long story short, but that's where we met. Yeah. And then I actually booked Evolution before he did.
Okay.
And there was another movie called Road Trip.
Yeah, I remember
that I auditioned for, that I booked before Evolution. But here's the funny story. Tom Green had cancer. He was going to be in the Road Trip movie. I ended up auditioning for the counselor role. But Tom Green wasn't able to do the movie, but then he came back from cancer, mm-hmm. took over the counselor part for the college. Then mm-hmm. they gave me the role of the student, or the possible student that's walking around getting the tour in the movie Road Trip, which ended up being Ethan Suplee.
Okay, I see.
They gave me that role, but my agent was like, Mike, you just had the lead, but now you don't have the lead, and now they want to give you a much smaller part, and hold out for a bigger role. Mm-hmm. Hold out, you know, you deserve to be a main role. You know, let them sit on it. So that's what my agent told them. So then they eventually hired Ethan, mm-hmm. and the director of that was Todd Phillips.
Okay. Yeah.
Of that directed Road Trip. Right. So then later, Todd Phillips, Don Gold, Ivan Reitman created Evolution. I auditioned for Evolution, met all of those people. Then they said, who could play your brother in Evolution? Then I wrote a list of 5 people that I respect and I love that could play my brother. And then I wrote down Charlie Talbert. I forgot the other names that I wrote on it. He played Angus. I think I might have wrote down Sean Goldberg. There was another actor. I can't remember his name, but he was popular at the time as of a bigger guy. And I wrote down Ethan. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, long story short, I got the job, and then Ethan's back.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that they hired him because I wrote him on a list, but they asked me. They're like, "Who do you think could play your brother?" You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think Ethan was available at the time. Maybe he was their first choice as well, and he wasn't available. But then he ended up being available. So me and Ethan, we have a long history.
Nice, nice.
He's going to be on the Boy Meets World podcast in a couple of days.
Okay, cool.
With him and Blake, the guy from our show. Salute Your Shorts.
Nice. Now, did you work at all with David Duchovny on that, or did he kind of do his own thing?
Yeah, that was after I filmed X-Files.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it all ties in, you know.
It's crazy. Yeah, I got kicked off the set by David Duchovny on the set of X-Files.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I love telling these stories, man. So I had the audition for X-Files, right? But I went to 20th Century Fox to meet with Chris Carter for the audition. My character had no acting. It was just yelling, you know, go here, go there, flank right, flank left, like a super soldier, you know? So in the audition, I'm meeting with producers. I'm like, how do I make this character come to life? There's no acting chops. It's me running around acting stupid. So I said, forget it. I'm going to bring the video game from that episode into the audition. So they opened the door, and right when they opened it, Chris Carter and everybody's on the couch, and producers are like, Michael Ray Baum, get out the way. What are you doing? We got to get them. There's a guy up there. There's a dude up there. And I was bald-headed at this time, too. I was acting like a gangster from the hood. I don't know. But I was bald-headed, right? And I'm like this. So then I started my scene. I'm like, you ready? I'm going to start my scene. We start my scene. Are you ready? Are you ready? And I said, get up off the couch, get up. I literally had Chris Carter and the casting director go behind the sofa that they were sitting on. And I said, put your heads down. And I went right behind them. To the left and to the right of them while they're next to me. I'm like, are you ready? And then I started the scene. All right, I'm going to go left. I'm going to flank right. You go. And then I got up and they stayed there. And then I went into the front of the couch. And then I played the scene where I get shot, and I'm like, oh. And they're like this. And then I finished, you know, I died. I got up and I said, enjoy your day. And then I just walked out of the room. And then an hour, 2 hours later, my agent calls me, you got the job.
Oh, man.
So I was a fanboy. So I called Chris Carter. I was starting to videotape with cameras back around this time. Mm-hmm. I said, can I come and film me and my adventures, like my trailer, like all about me on the set of X-Files. I got permission. I was told not to film anybody without their permission, and I couldn't release anything or anything like that, that it was basically for home movies. And so we agreed. And then so I was walking by the makeup trailer filming, and the door was open. David Duchovny's in the chair getting his hair and makeup done. And then I guess I walked by and I was like, oh, this is the makeup trailer where they look pretty. But there's a mirror. Whenever you see these trailers, there's a mirror and the door's open and he's sitting in the chair. So I guess his reflection comes back from the mirror with the open door. So I walked by with the camera, probably with a light on or something. Next thing you know, about 15 minutes later, security's like, get out of here. You know, they're throwing me off the set. I'm like, I'm starring in the episode. Oh, Chris Carter, call the producer. And then they got a hold of him and they come out, they bring me back. And Chris is like, what happened? David Duchovny said you were filming him. I told you not to film people, Michael. I go, I didn't film him. I go, look, let's watch the footage. I flipped a little screen around and then he sees it. And he goes, you didn't mean to film him. It was an accident, you know, like whatever. So they talk to David or this or that. Then he comes back to me. He's like, Michael, you mind if you put the camera away? We'll just take photos. And we're going to film the rest of the episode. And he goes, I just want to let you know, David's a bit of an asshole.
Oh.
And then around that time, he was suing them because the show was airing like on Sci-Fi Network or they sold it. And David Duchovny sued the creators of X-Files for money. And that was happening right at that time.
I see.
So so then I get the job Evolution. I go to the table read and I see him again in the bathroom. I look at him. I'm like, hey,
The worst moments, huh?
we didn't really work together because I was kind of separate in that episode of X-Files. But we saw each other, they knew who each other was. But we're sitting next to the bathroom. I'm like, hey, how you doing? He's like, I'm like, yeah, I'm starring in this episode or this movie as well. And then I turned back after I walked to the door. I go, are you going to kick me out?
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, and then that became an issue. I won't tell the stories now, but that became an issue later on the set of Evolution, and where a lot of people turned their backs on me or didn't like me because they said that I leaked information or I took video. Everything goes wrong with me sometimes. I can't explain it. We could talk offline, but there's a lot of stories, man, that really hurt me.
Yeah, and I definitely don't want to tell those on here right now for sure. But I do want to ask, like is there anything you still have your eye on, things that you still want to do? Are there projects that you're working on, things that you're working toward? Anything in the future that you are really looking forward to?
Just to let you know, we can go longer than an hour. I'm good for another half an hour if you want. No problem. Yeah, the future is kind of rough, man. Like I don't want to get all into my feelings, but like
right now,
I don't really see a future sometimes. And let me just be honest with you. I lost my house, I lost my family, COVID happened, my health is dwindling, I lost my father. The past 5-6 years, it's just really, really hard to come back from that.
I understand.
But I mean, I'm still always going to entertain. I can't really be an actor right now, and I'm gonna be honest with you because the mandates. You have to show proof of 2 boosters just to audition, just to work on a project, even to go into the offices of Screen Actors Guild. To seek employment, to pay bills, you need to show proof of vaccination. I don't believe in that. I'm not one of those people. And just like you can't even be an actor. You can't even earn a living nowadays, if you're against or you don't believe in that stuff, which is technically illegal. We don't have to get in the merits of that. Mandates are illegal. And refusing to give somebody a job based off of health is another thing, just like you can't do it off of race, religion. You cannot not give somebody a job because of that. That's actually illegal as well. Yeah, but who's going to sue these companies that are firing people or not hiring them because of vaccines? Who's going to sue them? Nobody's got money. Nobody can do it. Sorry, I'm working on my YouTube channel. I made memberships. I'm trying to create content in there, trying to make a few bucks. Basically I have to live off my past sometimes, and that hurts a lot. It hurts the soul, because I'm a very prideful human being.
For sure.
So I'm a very prideful person, and it kind of hurts me to live off my past because you don't truly know if there's a future or more movies or TV shows or adventures ahead. So I'm a lot in my feelings, a lot in my health, but I'm still trying to entertain. I'm still trying to be out there in public, still trying to make a living, and I'm trying to come back to life. That's the honest truth.
For sure. And, I want to just say, just person to person, man, I really hope for the best for you. Just that, everybody deserves to make a living. Everybody deserves to, have something to look forward to, something to work toward, and something you've been doing all your life. If you're not able to do it, that must be, it must suck, it must really be stressful and kind of agonizing, so I really do hope for the best for you, especially nowadays, man. Like, they're all of these things where, nostalgia projects are huge. You have your Fuller House, you have, Cobra Kai, that 90s show, things like that. People love the cameos and everything.
The people, a couple of the people that created, what was it, the 70s show, they also helped write some of the episodes of Salute Your Shorts, right? And then they also one of them wrote Dude, Where's My Car?
Nice.
Hence why I'm also in Dude, Where's My Car? And the 70s show, since it was written or created by one of the writers from our show that came in for a couple episodes, it's got the same format.
Mm-hmm.
It's got 3 girls, 4 guys, and I'm just saying there's some similarities. Watch that. Watch it. It's pretty interesting.
For that 90s show you're saying, or for that 70s show?
70s show.
Okay, that 70s
I haven't watched the 90s show.
I tried.
That's why Ashton was in Dude, Where's My Car as well.
Yeah. See, everything connects. That's what I found so crazy. Everything just, connects so much from, different actors and similar things. And I was like, man, that's why I thought you would fit in so well in some of those, heavyweights, all the show, all that, things like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't have some of those auditions. I didn't have them.
Yeah.
But, it all connects, man. Because once they work with you, they get to know you, or they like you, or they see you on something, they kind of hire you again, or they enjoy your company, and it goes from there. I did audition for a big camp movie. I think it was called Camp Cucamonga in the 90s.
Okay.
Do you ever remember that TV? It was like a TV movie of the week on NBC. It starred Danica from the Wonder Years and a couple others. And I auditioned for that movie, and I had to turn it down. But it was called Camp Cucamonga. Okay. Got to check that out. Try to find it. I'm sure it's online somewhere.
It's got to be. Everything's up there now,
Yeah, there was a theme song, Cucamonga. Oh yeah, oh yeah. But I got a part in that. They had like all these actors from TV shows in there, and they hired me, but I didn't end up doing it. I forgot something happened around my life at that time, and I just couldn't do the movie. But so I regret it. But I worked with Danica later. There was other Chad Allen was in it. If you remember Chad Allen, he's a little bit of a 90s actor as well.
Okay. Now I want you to...
Sorry, you're bringing back all these memories, man.
No, it's cool, man. I love hearing it. I want you to plug your stuff, man. Get your stuff out there. Where can people find you?
Search YouTube. Just write Donkey Lips, Heybauer, HEYBOWER, cameo.com/Donkey Lips. Facebook, search Michael Rauer, Donkey Lips, Heybauer. You'll find it.
Cool. All right. Well, the time has come, right? And I really was looking forward to this part. If you're cool with it, I would really, really like to sing the Camp Anawanna song with you.
You ready?
Let's go.
All right. In 3, 2, 1. We run and jump and swim and play. We roll and go on trips. But the thing that lasts us forever. Camp Anawanna, we hold you in our hearts, and when we think about you, it makes me wanna fart. I hope we never part. Now get it right or pay the price.
Now we will share a lifetime of the finest memories
by the lake of Anawanna, set near the pine tree. Camp Anawanna, we hold you in our hearts, but when we think about you, the thing coming apart. Think Anawanna, speak Anawanna, live Anawanna.
Fucking amazing. Love it.
Thank you, brother. I had a good time singing it with you. I love you. I appreciate your podcast and everything you do. And I love that ignorance is strength at many times in life. I agree with that statement, brother.
Well, thank you very much again. I really do appreciate your time. And for everybody listening at home, I appreciate it. Thank you. Fuck you and good night. Subscribe to the Ignorance is Strength podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Like, follow, and share on Facebook and Instagram at Ignorance is Strength Podcast, and on Twitter at The Ignorance Pod.